Tanisha, welcome.
Thank you for having me.
Yes. So, everyone, welcome to the Art of Wellness podcast. And this is episode 2 with my special friend and guest, Tanisha. And Tanisha, thank you for agreeing to do this with me because, um, Art of Wellness is dear to my heart, and everything that I've learned over 2 decades of helping people free from their mental health and physical health and different type of life struggles. This is truly my passions to help people overcome so many challenges. And thank you for trusting me and believing in me, for allowing me to help you throughout the years. And thank you for agreeing to come and share your stories, because your story is going to change so many lives, more than what I can tell people, because you truly experienced and overcame so many things. So anyway, we're gonna get right into it.
Okay.
So Tanisha, what was your health condition like? What were you experiencing before you were working with me at the Art of Wellness?
Oh my goodness. Where do I begin? It's a lot. Before meeting you, Gan, I had diabetes, uh, PCOS, lymphedema. Then I got the IBS from when I had gastric bypass surgery in 2013, April 19, 2013. Then on top of that, uh, I said lymphedema. Then I had issues with my back because of the lymphedema. I was in a wheelchair and
Mm.
I lost all mobility. So not only that, I had overactive bladder. So because I suffered with leakage because of my too much stomach being on top of my bladder. So PCOS, IBS, lymphedema, diabetes, high blood pressure, and I think that's about it. So that's a lot for somebody in their preteens and early 20s.
That's really scary. I've never seen someone with so many diagnoses, let alone being a preteen.
Mm-hmm.
And so it's been a long time then. You suffer from that for a long time.
Oh, yeah.
All that during that time. Because that multiplies so quickly. What was your mental health at that time though? Do you remember from then till once you were told?
I remember my mental health like it was yesterday. My mental health was terrible. There were days where I didn't want to go forward. There were days where I felt like I was being punished by a higher power, by God Himself. I was like, why am I going through this? Like, I am the most sweetest and humble person that you'll probably ever come across. So why is this happening to me? I try to do right by people because I want people to do right by me. And I never did wrong by anyone. So I was like, why is this happening to me? So I just began to accept it as my fate that I was always going to be obese and overweight. I was never going to be married. I was never going to be able to have kids. So I just accepted it. And I used to always, especially when I was in school, kids are cruel, and even adults, they are cruel as well. And there were many times I would come home from school just in tears, not wanting to go to school. It was so bad before I cut my hair this short. I had like a small one you can curl, and I had it just slick down. I would get picked on so bad. I was in class and they was trying to check my neck to see that I have an Adam's apple. So they was calling me a boy then. So I have
Mm.
been through a lot. Even with lymphedema, when my body started becoming dysmorphed, and I would go into public and kids would just stop and stare, adults would just stop and stare to the point where I actually felt like I wasn't from here. I felt like I was like a complete alien or something because that's how people made me feel. And I remember one night I was hurting so bad from lymphedema, from my legs, my feet, everything. And my parents rushed me to the ER, and the attending nurse, she was like, well, baby, are you from here? I was like, yes, ma'am, born and raised Birmingham, Alabama. Why would you ask me that? Oh, well, what you have is a form of elephantitis, and that's only seen in Africa. Have you ever been to Africa? I said, no, ma'am. I have never been there. I would love to go, but I have never been. So it's been little instances like that for the last 10 or 12 years before I met you that I was getting. I went to the adolescence clinic. and she put me on a diuretic pill, and I was only on that diuretic pill for 3 days. She didn't like the results that I wasn't getting in her time span, and she took me off. So from 2008, when I was diagnosed with PCOS and diabetes at the same time, I have been bounced from doctor to doctor to doctor to doctor. And even with I can go all the way back to my pediatrician. And when I started gaining weight, he told my mom, well, don't worry about it. She's young, put her in different activities and she'll lose the weight. So my activities I tried out for basketball. I made the team, but I didn't get a chance to play because it coincided with my soccer game. So I played soccer. So that was elementary. Then from middle school, it was always marching band. But every year, I don't care what diet we tried, what medication I was on, because I was a fan of junk food and the way my parents worked. The only time we got a balanced meal was either on days my mom was off, or we got to my grandparents' house and got dinner. And so every year I got bigger, 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 bigger. And we just couldn't figure out what was wrong until 2008 when he said, you have lymphedema. Nobody else in Birmingham knew what it was at the time. Everybody was still learning about it. And I just felt like a hopeless case. Nobody understood me. Oh, you need to back away from the table. You need to go on a diet. You need to do this and do that. Nothing worked.
So it's you did many sports, you tried so many different things, you see different specialists, and you did your best. You feel like you did your best, you listen, and it's so frustrating that nothing works. And but emotionally, mentally, you feel, I guess I could sense like your frustration, you feeling being insulted when how people look at you, how they treat you, right? And then all that shame and guilt, that must be so tough. I mean, what was that like in terms of making friends or having, support system?
It was real tough to deal with. I became a recluse in my own house. But I'll back up even further. When I was, still young in school, I only had friends when I had quote unquote candy. I had something to give, something to offer. When there was no candy, nobody else came around. So I can count like about 4 people that I was friends with back then that I have contact with a few of them today, but it's not like it was when we was in school. But it was horrible. People would I could be at the lunch, even the lunch lady. Um, I would go into the lunchroom and I think I lost my number or something like that. So I wouldn't go through the lunch line. And by us and like in the black community, they say everybody has a twin. So I'm sitting at the cafeteria at the table with my class. The lunchroom lady comes around and sit at the table behind me. I will never forget. She said, "Hey," and I'm sitting this way, and she's sitting behind me, and I can hear she said, "Hey, you see that girl right there?" And everybody looking like, "Yeah, what about her?" She come in here every day, 3 times a day, eating. And my teacher, I never forget Mr. Morgan, my algebra teacher, he was like, "You need to stop lying on that girl. That girl don't never come in here that many times. She only in here during her period." And then it was like an argument that just blew up. And he said, "You an adult, that's a child. You need to stay in an adult's place, that she's not bothering you." It was little instances like that that made going to school absolutely horrible.
And so you feel so isolated too, right? Just
Right.
being
Because
teased.
back then, like it is now, there is a lot of body positivity in school now, where you see plus size cheerleaders, plus size well, not majorettes, because they took majorettes out of school after I graduated. So you see plus size dance girls. And I was like, where was all this stuff when I wanted to participate? Oh, you too big. We can't. Nope, nope. You can't do
Mhm.
it. And so the only thing that really matched me was music, because I love music, and the marching band was it for me.
Mm. So yeah, I could see, you feel punished instead of trying to get help. You're being punished for trying to do better and want more. But
Absolutely.
your parents were working so much that they can only do so much, and they only probably listen to the doctor, right? Your parents don't know what else to help you with. Like just many parents trying to raise the kids, I've seen that. They're like, I don't know, it depends what the doctors say, right?
Right.
And so I'm sure they try by taking you to different doctors and right specialists and just find out.
Yeah, so I have been on so many different diets. And before meeting you, I had no idea that it was like a one size fit all. And so I'm thinking, okay, I'm getting older, 16, 17. I'm looking at boys, but they're not looking at me. So I had to figure out something that where I can get out here in this dating pool. So one of the things I remember trying was Slim Fast. And I lost pretty good with Slim Fast, the chocolate flavor. Then after that, it was Amaze RX I tried. I lost really good with that. But my problem was once somebody would say, "Ooh, I can see a difference. You're losing weight." And I don't know, like psychologically, something in my mind flipped and I quit. And that would be the complete opposite for somebody that says you're making progress, you keep going. And that's like, and after Amaze RX, um, I was Adapex or something like that, a prescription pill I was put on. That didn't last long. He's just seen I wasn't having results. He took me off that. And then my current doctor, she put me on Biduron. And then here recently, she took me off metformin and she put me on Ozempic. And I never took it.
What were your experience like with these different medication? Like why did you stop taking the one that you were taking before? And do you have any side effects or?
Before meeting you, Jan, I was completely lost in the wilderness. I gave all control to every healthcare professional that had my medical history that was working with me. In my mind, I said, they are the healthcare professionals. They are the ones that went to school for it, so they know more than I do about how I can better my health. So I never noticed any side effects, anything out of the ordinary, and I just kept taking them. And then with like the IBS pills, the Vibrosi, I couldn't leave my home without those pills. So when I got those particular pills, I felt like I had been given my life back. I couldn't go shopping. I couldn't go out to eat. I couldn't do anything without those pills because I had to basically case out a place to make sure I knew where the nearest restroom was so I wouldn't have an accident publicly. It was just that bad. And so before she put me on those pills, I would just stay home. And if anybody went out to eat, they would have to bring the food back to me and I'll eat it at home because safety and not being embarrassed for one, how I looked, and then for all of my ailments that I was having. And then on top of that, not being able to walk only for like so many footsteps. And I couldn't even wear tennis shoes then. I couldn't even really wear house shoes. My dad at the time had to take a knife or either scissors and cut down the size of the shoes just so I can get my foot in. And you can imagine the sound of a house shoe that it makes across the pavement. That's all you can hear. You can hear me when I'm coming because the sound. Oh, excuse me, the sound. And it was just so horrible. And so I thought that I was giving myself a new leash on life. I kept seeing everybody have this gastric bypass, gastric bypass, gastric bypass. I said, oh, maybe this will be my saving grace. Maybe this will be the answer to my prayers. I did that, and it was a botched surgery. You have to go, I believe, 6 months with your insurance, going back and forth to your doctor, being put on a medical induced quote unquote diet to see if you can lose the weight on your own without surgery. Of course, I couldn't lose the weight. So they said, you are a candidate for surgery. And I went through all that, my regular doctor, the cardiologist, and any other specialist that they have you go, and I was cleared.
Mm-hmm.
So
But
April
also
19th.
they normalize that everyone, like you said, is talking about gastric bypass, so they normalize this procedure too, right?
Right. And so I never forget, I was in high school when I was initially looking at it. And I messed up thinking that these girls were my friend. And I said, oh yeah, I'm getting ready to have gastric bypass surgery. It's like, okay, well, what size do you want to be? So I'm scanning the cafeteria. We was in the lunchroom and trying to pick out what particular girl who I wanted to look like. I said, I said, I would like to look like her. So lo and behold, I didn't know all of a sudden I'm labeled gay and all this type of stuff. And you asked me a question, I gave you an answer. So now I'm labeled quote unquote gay because
Mm-hmm.
it was crazy. So I just been through a lot.
Everything's like a nightmare too, thinking back, right?
Right.
But a lot of people I know can relate to everything you're sharing. I know it was a difficult journey, and I want an audience who, as you're listening to this and what Tynesha is sharing, that you're not alone, because, Tynesha is a great example of a lot of people who could not talk and share their story, what they've been through, especially at, I mean, older women already experiencing this. It's even harder when you're in school, when you're young, preteen and teenage. It's like the hardest, roughest time. And so I'm so sorry you have to experience that. And then
Yeah.
how old were you when you were going through the gastric bypass surgery?
I think I didn't have gastric bypass until I was in my 20s. I was fully grown. So night I graduated high school in '07. Yeah, and I didn't have it until 13. So
Okay.
many years later, and then that ended up being botched. The surgeon waited until he got me on the table and call it divine intervention. I didn't listen to it. I had every opportunity to get off the table and leave and go home. But in my mind, I'm thinking this is my last chance, my last shot. Do it, do it, do it. And he comes in, he says, "Oh, well, I can't give you the large gastric bypass surgery like we had initially intended for you to have because of your heart." And I'm like, "My heart? But I've been cleared by the cardiologist. That's how I got here. I wouldn't be here if something was wrong with my heart." So, dumb me, crazy me, thinking this is my last shot. Go ahead and do it, doc. I'm already hooked up to anesthesia. I'm here. I'm on the table. Go ahead and do it. And I was five.
By the way, I want you to stop blaming yourself or call yourself names or crazy. The doctors were there. You understand? You still rely on their expertise to have the best interest for you.
Right. And that's what I was thinking. And so I went through with it. And before I had the surgery, I was 540, 550-ish pounds. Might as well say close to 600. And I only lost 100 and something pounds from the surgery. So I was stuck at weighing 430 some pounds until I met you. And so that's like been a struggle because my current doctor, that's why she put me on Run. She said, "Oh, what I don't understand. What is it we can do to get this weight moved off of you?" And she's tried everything under the sun that she could think of, and nothing worked.
Mm-hmm. So it sounds to me like you were stuck in the 430s after the gastric bypass, the sleeve surgery, and then you develop a severe case or IBS, right? On
Right,
top of the diabetes, on top of like the PCOS and lymphedema, all those things, right? You're dealing with,
right.
and that must be so frustrated. And so how long was it that from after the surgery and then till you meeting me? How long, and then trying what we did with the lifestyle medicine? How long was that period that you were feeling stuck?
12 years.
Oh my goodness. I didn't even think of that. Well, that's a long time.
Yeah,
I
so
thought maybe like 12 years.
from
I'm so glad
2008,
you never gave up though, because a lot of people would get
I
so
I was
depressed.
out. Yeah, I was actually at that point. That's why I said I basically I did surrender. I just felt like this was going to be my life for the rest of my life.
How many days were you going to the doctor's office? I remember like just
At one
hearing.
point, I think I was going just about every other week,
Mm-hmm.
and it was like a different prescription every time I went. I said, okay. And at one point, it felt like just gimme, 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 gimme. Whatever
They
you got.
constantly is like a guinea pig, right? That every time they give you a different prescription, try this, try that.
Right. And that's what I really felt like, a pincushion. And then like recently she said I'm supposed to be vitamin D deficient, B12 deficient. So I was letting her stick me with the needle full of B12. And she said, "Well, you just come here every month and we'll stick you and you can go home." And then right after she said it, she sent me home with the needle to inject myself. I said, "I'm not doing that. No way."
Mm-hmm. Yeah, so everything was like a quick fix. Just take this for that kind of scenario. And so, yeah, I was thinking, 12 years is a long time for you to experience that struggles. And there's something within you that, what is it that's within you that's say, keep going? Because, right, you have something special too. And I feel like when I met you, you were really open to trying, because I feel like you try everything else, but you weren't afraid of trying, my method in terms of lifestyle medicine. And I teach, epi- uh, epigenetics and lifestyle medicine theory, and teaching people about how, to, look at food as medicine and different herbs and supplementations. Was that a very new concept for you?
It was, and it wasn't hard for me to embrace it because, like you said, when you met me, I was, in my opinion, I was in a desperate place for change. And what you said to me was like a breath of fresh air because the experience was not like anything I experienced before. You let me have the floor, you let me talk, and once I was done and you gave your diagnosis, then this is what we're going to do. This is how I'm going to help you. I know that you've been told this in the past. We're not doing that. We're going to correct everything that's going on with you with food. You're going to have a better relationship with food. It's not about so much how what you're eating, is how you're fixing it. So you can still enjoy the foods that you love, but it's a healthier alternative to fixing those same foods. And that's what I had to learn. And before meeting you, like I said, I was wheelchair bound. I couldn't even cook. I had to depend on my parents and mostly my grandma, because we moved in with her after my granddad passed from diabetes and being on dialysis. He had a stroke and a heart attack at the dialysis center. So
Mm-mm.
we moved in with her, but they had been married over 60 plus years. And so she had got used to him. And so one day she was like, "Oh, I'm fixing breakfast for James." My granddad's name was James. I was like, he's gone. So who are you fixing breakfast? So after that, we moved in with her. And a few years later, she made this comment to me. I never forget it. She said, baby, grandma tired. Like my soul is tired. I'm like, where are you tired from? You're gonna be around a long time. So I get married and have kids. And so she made the comment. She was trying to get me in the kitchen then to try to teach me how to cook. And I didn't want any parts of it. I was like, no, mm-mm. And so after meeting you and doing my first detox with you, the first 4 week accountability detox, I was able to stand up to the stove. I was able to get out that wheelchair, stand up to the stove and cook my first meal. I think it was some pork chops. And I have been standing on the stove because I am my parents' caregiver now, and I'm doing all the cooking. And so that's something that just like literally blew my mind.
Oh yeah, I remember meeting you, and you wanted to try different food and recipe that we have, but you're telling me that you're very new at this.
Right. And I was like, I don't know. But I
You're
was willing
nervous though,
to,
but you're willing to give it a try. That was really impressive.
right.
And
And
after a
like,
year, over a year now, it's almost 2 years that we worked together, and you're such a good cook now. I just want to let the audience know she is so good. And she's definitely mastering the kitchen right now.
thank you, thank you. I appreciate it. So initially, I had a love and hate relationship with my air fryer, and I don't know why I didn't think to, like you do your regular oven, you preheat it, and with the air fryer, I was like, oh, okay, turn it on, boop, and just stick my after I
Well,
seasoned it,
you're
just stick
not
my.
afraid to use the oven and dice and,
Oh
slice
no,
and
the
season.
more and more I do it, I am becoming more and more in love with it because I've learned that a healthy body and a complete and overall wellness is done in the kitchen. It's okay to eat, fast food here and there, but coming from where I come from, I was raised on it, so it's kind of like a drug. You kind of like hooked on it. You don't know anything else other than what to eat because you go in the store and they make the unhealthy food more affordable because they know that's what you're going to gravitate to instead of the healthy foods when you don't know, you don't know.
That's right, because you grew up with, with fast food because your parent didn't have time, right? Fast food was convenient because they work so much. So, just you didn't realize how much junk is in there. And when we met, it was when we did the detox first, I said, in order to lose the weight, and no one told you this, we need to work on some of the inflammation, letting go. We can't get rid of everything, but letting go of some inflammation already, right, helps you jumpstart some of the weight. And I want to dive into talking about that a little bit because, there's inflammation in a lot of medication you're taking as well. And on top of that, in the food, the fast food and so forth, right?
Mhm.
So, with the detox, you felt some weight loss already during that first week. We did a 7 day.
Right.
You know what? Do you remember that time when you did your
Yeah, I
detox?
remember I was absolutely floored. I was like, wait a minute. I'm actually losing weight. I honestly thought it was a fluke at first. I was like, no. And then I did, that was the first one. And then the second one was, I think, when I really saw results, when I lost what, that 180 pounds within 8 months.
Mm-hmm.
And it just literally blew my mind that I was under the other
Can you say
doctor's
that number
care,
again? In 8 months, how much did you lose?
over 100 pounds within 8 months. And everything else that the medical world, my doctor would prescribe, it wasn't working. It was tied to a one size fit all. And everything that Yan introduced me to was tied to me as an individual and the goals that I wanted to accomplish with my health. And so that's what the breakthrough was for me. I'm taking things from GNC, Walmart, when Kmart was in business. I'm taking all this stuff, buying it, protein shakes, diet cookies, and all that. Yeah, they had I don't know if you remember, like the Hollywood diet that was out. It was like some juice that you
Mm.
could drink. Then I think they went from the juice to they had a cookie you could eat. You name it, I tried it. Nothing worked until I met and connected with you and started learning a better relationship with food and a better relationship with the proper supplements that work with your body instead of against your body.
Yeah, and I remember you first reached out to me and you said, "Yeah, and I'm in the 300 club."
Yes, I was like, and even when I went to the doctor and the nurse, they come out, they call you to the back and then they weigh you. And she didn't say anything. She just made her notation. And then she put the chart in the side of the door. And then when my doctor came in my culture, they have this thing where I think some people call it like a Baptist shout. She came in, looked at the paperwork, and absolutely just started shouting and praising God. Like, she said, is this real? Did she make a mistake and write the wrong weight on here? I said, no, it's real. She said, my God, what happened? Who are you working with? What are you taking? And I told her who I was working with, and she wanted to connect with you. She said, all these years you have been stuck. We've tried everything, nothing worked. What is it? And it's
But
been
you know that it's not your doctor, a lot of doctors' fault because they were not trained that way. So it was an emphasis on how to lower inflammation with herbs and supplementations or food. I mean, they're not trained that. They're trained to how to lower inflammation with medication.
right,
Even the word, it's hard, even for us to say here, it's like a taboo if you don't have a white coat.
right. And then before my current doctor, other doctors that I've had, I'll research. I'll go to Google. And I said, well, hey, I found this information on Google. And then they would say, oh, you can't believe half of what you see and what you read. I'm the professional. I know what's best for your health. And basically just sit down and be quiet and do what I tell you to do. And so that's why I was so reluctant to like give up rights. Okay, here you go. Tell me
Mhm.
what to do to fix me. And in the end, I didn't get the service or justice that I was looking for in order to help me. I ended up hurting me more because I didn't know. And now, since meeting you, I am an advocate for people fighting for themselves, taking back control of their own health. Because you're with your body. I'll be 35 in 2 months. 35. And I'm just now learning for those past 2 years that you and I have been working closely together that you have that right. you have a right to voice your opinion and say, well, doc, this is not working. Let's come up with something else. Instead of them being so in control, so bullheaded and telling you, no, sit down, shut up, do like I tell you to do.
Well,
And so
you went from a five, I think a 5x
5X,
to now like 2x going to 1x soon.
yes.
So that's
I
huge.
mean,
And I want to let people know this is not overnight
oh
results.
no, there is no magic bullet. There is no secret ingredient to becoming healthier and achieving ultimate overall wellness. There is no magic potion, I would tell you. It's dedication, consistency, and having faith in yourself and Yan. If you ever see this and you have opportunity to work with Yan, I promise you, go ahead and do it because you only have. I when I went to North Carolina and I was able to share my story on stage, it sparked something in me to like want to become a motivational speaker because I was sharing my story and I didn't know that I had the ability to touch so many people. I honestly felt like a celebrity when I was done speaking. People came up to me, absolute strangers, hugging me, kissing on me. I was like, oh my gosh, this is so incredibly powerful. And that's what I want to do now, advocate and encourage people to, to let them know it's never too late to start loving on you. It's never too late. We do so much more for other people that we tend to put ourselves on the back burner and we just forget about ourselves. It's almost 2024. So you can start your New Year's, even though I used to believe in them, I don't anymore. You can start now creating a new you in your own kitchen. Yes, it's going to be hard at first, but the more you do it, it does become easier. And I am a living testament to that. And like I said, you only have one life to live. This is your one shot, your one opportunity. If you can't do it for yourself, find someone else in your family to do it for, whether it's your children, grandchildren, your husband. Find some type of motivation to get off the couch, get in the kitchen, and start cooking your meals to make your body feel better.
No, it's so beautifully said. Oh, I hope, people get a chance to listen to that. That's always heartfelt, to hear you say that. Um, just let's go over this real quick. Your blood pressure was, yeah, high blood pressure too, high blood sugar, right? You have difficulty walking, you were in a wheelchair. Share with the audience, like, what is life like now with you? What's your blood sugar like, your blood pressure, your mobility, how much can you walk and things like that? What can you do?
Okay, that's the thing. When I was first diagnosed with high blood pressure, my blood pressure to me has always been 120 over 30, 120 over 40, 130 over 40, something like that. And when I went to the doctor, and the first time it was like 135, 136. Oh, it's high. You got high blood pressure. Okay. So now it's still in the same range. It's like this morning, I think it was 124 over 77 or something like that. Blood sugar, 120, 135 ish. And what I have been able to do since meeting Yan is I'm able to cook now. I'm able to walk up and down the street or around the block if I want to without any pain in my back, without any pain in my legs. I'm cooking now. I can sit behind the wheel of a car now, which is something that I hadn't been able to do
Yay.
in years.
Yes.
So it's just standing up on my own 2 feet for longer periods of time. So because of Yan and her incredible expertise, she has given me my life back because I was so in a desperate place for to live because I'm like I said, I'll be 35. I still haven't begun to live my life yet. I'm trying to go back now and get that experience back that most kids had sleepovers and went to parties. I never had that experience because I was always the biggest one in the room. I was always the biggest child in the room. And nobody wants to really be bothered with the plus size big girl or the big boy. You're always made fun of and made to feel less than. So now is the time where I'm so glad that I finally chose to love on me and spread that love to other people that look like me. because so many times we feel unloved, even though we love ourselves. Sometimes we feel like that's not enough because we blame ourselves for the things that we don't know. When you do know, then it's up to you to do better with the information that you have.
That's right. And are you taking any medication at this time?
Oh, that's a bad word, medications. No, ma'am.
Mm.
I chump all my
So you're
medications
able
and
to have all these healthy, good levels right now, managing it all naturally.
right, all naturally. I refuse to put poison in my body. And that's what I was trying to advocate for earlier. I refuse to, I'm doing the same thing for my parents, refuse to allow them to put poison in their body to further damage whatever health that they have left. And I want to do that for everybody that I come across. You don't have to stick to prescription drugs. You have another option, a life saving option that will increase your longevity and you'll be around for many, many years to come. You just have to be willing to listen, be coachable, be teachable, and trainable because you can learn a new way to do things. Like I said, it's hard in the beginning. You're going to hear some things that is not going to sound so pretty. You're not going to agree with it. You're going to fight with it. And then you're going to have that moment to yourself where it's going to be like an aha moment. Oh, this is what she meant. And once you realize that, that's when things will really like fall into place for you. And it's just going to be like a new leash on life, a brand new beginning.
Mm. I'm so happy that, you didn't give up. And I just hearing it again, I know, been working with you, just hearing that, that you are drug free, because you were going from doctor to doctor, trying so many different things. And if it's causing you more harm than good, and you don't realize that it was causing a lot of different side effects until we met. So it's truly amazing that you really took this really seriously. And the other thing that people don't realize is that you have started new commitment and exercising daily and being consistently exercise too. You want to share a little bit about that? What made you become so motivated about that?
Oh, yes, of course. I saw a friend on social media, two friends actually, and they came up with this 365 exercise. Every day you do something to become 1% better than you were yesterday. I started then with them, and then because I wasn't consistent enough, I fell off. So this time we got ready to do the 7-day detox, the 4-week health accountability program again. I think I actually started before we got started. I started on September the 4th. And it's been over 50 days where I've been consistent with the 365 Move My Body Challenge.
It's
And
amazing. I
yeah,
am so glad you mentioned that because it's the community. We have a group called a support group called Take Charge of Our Health and Happiness, and you're part of that too. And that's amazing that you have leveraged and utilized the community to help each other.
mhm. And it's also that community that you just mentioned, because I have been a part of so many weight loss programs led by doctors. And we're at the round table, everybody's sitting at the table, everybody's sharing their goals and how they want to achieve their goals, how much weight they want to lose. And then you're made to create a buddy sheet. Everybody goes around the table, sliding the paper across the table, writing their name and number down. Hey, if you ever need me, call me. Hey, if you ever feel stuck, call me. So I took one up on their offer and we called. Nobody wanted to be bothered. Whereas in our community, I have seen people from the genuineness of their heart share recipes and basically share the shirt off their backs for people that they haven't even met in person. Some of us have met in person and some of us not. But still, the gratitude, the love, the attention and so personable. And it's like this saying that they had when I was in school, no child left behind. So with this, nobody gets left behind with their health. You just have to be willing to get off the sidelines, get off the couch, and get some skin in the game. And I'll put it to you like this: nobody is going to be willing to help you unless you first take initiative to show that you're willing to help yourself. That is what makes for an excellent quote unquote patient or
Mm-hmm.
a client. Once you see somebody that's like, hey, I'm desperate, what can you do to help? Because at the point when I came to Yan, I was practically in tears. I was like, this is it. I don't have anything else. This is it. Whatever you have for me, I am going to do it. I'm not going to put up a fight because I want to live.
Thank you so much. Oh my goodness, that is just so powerful. And like Tanisha said, we're here for you if you're listening to this and you're at your wits' end. Like Tanisha has been, years and years and years. It's never too late. It's never too late. As long as you're here, you woke up this morning, your body is still fighting for you. Your body can still be repaired and can recover. And we gotta just nourish it with the right nutrients. And I can help you figure that out. And so the last thing I want to ask you, Tanisha, is what new freedom would you say you experienced from just, having your health back?
Wow, this is probably going to sound like TMI, but it's the honest truth. Um, the bathroom, shower. Once I lost my 100 pounds in the 8 months, the first thing that I was really able to do was be able to get in the shower and stand one way without having to turn this way, without to turn that way. And it
Mm,
just felt so good to be able to step across that like threshold to get into the shower and just stand there and let that warm water just wash all over my body. Because I have been so big that I hadn't been able to do that. I had to actually take, well, I don't want to say what my granddad used to call it, but standing at the sink doing this, and that's really not no way to properly wash your body. You're just hitting certain spots. But that shower is like what we call in the morning when we do our meditations, a golden shower. And a shower is so important for your health. And I didn't know this either until Yan told me it hits your kidneys, it hits everything, that warm water. And you just, while you're washing, just patting on yourself and just loving on yourself.
mm,
It is so powerful. And I know you probably watching and listening, it's like a shower girl. Yes, sometimes people that are of smaller size, they take things for granted because they've been doing it for so long. Where you come across somebody like me and you like a shower, it is like so gratifying when you can do things that you haven't been able to do in years. And that's why I am so impressed by my own self that I have that willingness in me to fight. I have always been a fighter. I always fight for like other people, like the underdog, and I have been that way since I was a kid. And even now, as an adult, I'm still doing the same thing. And I pray and I hope that this isn't falling on deaf ears, that you contact Yan and say, hey, I have these health issues and I want to be released from them. I want to free myself from whatever is alienating me. I want my life back. And I will sing Yan praises till the day God closed my eyes because she has, oh goodness, has come into my life and just gave me my life back. If it weren't for Yan, I would probably already either be maybe 700 pounds by now or either dead because nobody else took the time to just listen to me, let me talk, and express my grievances and what I've been through. They always made me feel like I was dumb. I didn't know what I was saying, but Yan listened to me. She gave me my life back. Gosh,
oh, Tanisha, I love you, girl.
I love you too.
And this is not just it's not about boasting me. It's not about coming. You need to come and utilize my service. I just want to let you know that there are people like me out here that are definitely champion for the more natural way, a way to help other folks out there that's struggling. And all they were giving is just band-aid of medications, on like pills after pills and surgeries and other things like that. And I truly just want to provide services in a place where to help people, just like overcome so many chronic illness, you hear from Tanisha as well. So Tanisha, thank you for the shout out. And
No,
for
thank
me,
you.
it's just want people to see that it comes with hard work, that I give the guidance, I give the knowledge in all the years of clinical studies and research and teaching, and you have to be the one doing the work. So I commend you for doing all the hard work of not giving up and applying everything I'm teaching you. And you're such a good student.
Mm.
That's why you're going to be a great mentor and coach for other people. And we can work together as a team because you see, the light and, over the
Yeah,
tunnel.
I definitely see the vision, and I'm not there yet, but I'm much closer to it than what I was that 10, 12 years ago. So thank you again. And anytime I can speak on your platform and share my story, I'm always here. I'm just one phone call or text away.
Thank you so much. Guys, you hear about Tanisha's testimony and her results. And so this is what Art of Wellness program it's about. Our podcast is be able to bring you hope and to share with you that everyone can experience freedom with the Art of Wellness. And we have many different services. We personalize our treatment for you. What food, what supplementation or herbs, what lifestyle is right for you for what you're going through. So no cookie cutter. It's not about just it's just not about weight loss. It's not just about mental health. It's about your whole person and everything that you're going through. And everyone has their own story, and I want to hear yours too. And again, I want to say thank you, Tanisha. Thank you for your time to come and speak on my platform and share with whoever's gonna listen to this. And even if you change one person from hearing this will be all worth it. So thank you so
Mhm.
much.
Oh, thank you.
All right, everyone. You can find this description, where to find me, where to find more information about Art of Wellness in the description below. And until next time, have a great one, everyone. Take care now. If you like the video, please comment, like, share, and subscribe. I'd love to hear from you. Thank you.